Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to show you how to build a hand recognition system in real time using Python. So let's start by discussing what the video structure is going to look like. First, I'm going to give a high-level overview of how our project is going to work. Then we're going to be collecting data, then we're going to use that data to train our model, then finally test our model to see if it works as expected. Alright, so how is this project going to work? We're going to be using opencv, which is a library in Python, in order to capture frames from the user's webcam or the camera or whatever they're using. Now these frames are essentially 2D matrices which hold pixel values. And what we need to do is we need to identify in which part of the image is the user's hand located, because that's all the data that we need in order to solve our problem. This can be done with the help of a CNN, or a convolutional neural network. And we're also going to be using Google's Mediapipe framework in order to identify these joints or the landmarks in the user's hand, which is this skeleton-like looking structure, which represents the position of the user's hand. Now this is going to be used to train a feed-forward neural network, which is much more simpler and much more lightweight, and it's going to be ultimately used to identify the hand sign of the user. Now you might be wondering, why are we doing this extra step? Why do we need this skeleton-like looking structure? Why are we training it on this? Why can't we just train directly on the image? Now, the problem with that would be we would need a ton of training data in different environments, and we would need to take lots of other things into consideration. For example, the different hand sizes of the users, and the different shapes, the different sizes of the fingers, etc. And there would be so many other things which would make the problem a whole lot more complex. So yeah, the reason why we do this step is to make the problem much more simpler for us to solve. So now you might be thinking that this must be very difficult to implement. That is true. However, because it's such a common problem, it's very easy to find pre-made neural networks which will solve the exact same things for us. So for this video, we're going to be working with this GitHub repository, which is by Kazuhito Takahashi. It's open source and it's free to use, and the good thing about it is that it has a lot of free written code, and it's very easy to get started working with. So as I said earlier, we're going to be using Google's Mediapipe framework. This is going to be using Google's Mediapipe framework, which will help us identify all of these hand landmarks or these joints, and use this skeleton-like diagram in order to train a feed-forward neural network in order to identify all of these different hand signs. So to start working with this, we need to just go here. I will leave a link for this in the description. You can just go here, click on this code part, and then you can do a git clone or just download a zip file. Alright, so for this project, I'm going to be using PyCharm because it's very easy to use and it's beginner friendly. So what I did was I made a new project and I simply copied the folder from the GitHub repo into this project. Another thing, before you start working on this project, you need to make sure you've installed all of these modules because we're going to need them. And if you're using PyCharm just like me, there's a very easy way to install the modules. You can just go over to settings, click on Python interpreter, click on the plus sign, and type in the name of any module that you want. For example, Tensorflow. Just click on it and install package. Alright, so once you've installed all the modules, what you can do is you can open the project file and head over to app.py. So this is the main file for our project. And what you want to do is you want to press Ctrl F to search and type in num_hands. Now this variable here should already be set to 1 for you. However, if you want the program to be able to identify the hand sign from both the hands, you have to change it to 2. Alright, once you've done that, click on Run to run the file. Now once you run the file, you should see a window like this pop up. Notice that if you move your hand around in front of the webcam, you'll see a skeleton structure like this, which tracks the movement of your hand. And you also see a label associated with it, like this, but yours might be different from mine because I've already trained my model to be able to identify these custom hand signs. Now let me show you how to do that. Just stop running this program, and then head over to the model directory, keep on classifier, and then we have a file called keypoint classifier label.csv. Now this basically stores all of the labels for our custom hand signs, and then we have a file called keypoint.csv which stores all of the data we need in order to train our model. Now all of these rows which start with the number 0 correspond to the first label, and then all of the rows which start with the number 1 correspond to the second label, and so on. All of these numbers in each of these rows are basically the coordinates of the hand landmarks, which are pre-processed and then will be used to train our model. Now, because we're going to be retraining our model, we do not need all of this data. We're going to collect our own data. So just press Ctrl A and then backspace. And now head over to the keypoint classifier label file. And now we need to decide what are all of the custom hand signs we want our program to be able to recognize. So I'm going to do a hello, peace, and OK. And you can do up to 9 of these custom hand signs. Or 10 actually. Yeah, you can do up to 10. Alright, so once you've done that, head back to the app.py file and press run. Alright, so once this window pops up again, press K on your keyboard. Now this should say logging, this should give a message logging keypoint. Alright, so what you want to do is head over to your CSV file. So the first hand sign which we chose was the hello sign. So what you want to do is do a hello sign in front of the webcam and then press 0 on your keyboard. What this is going to do is it's going to store all of the coordinates of the hand landmarks in this position. And notice that it starts with the number 0. It has an ID or an index of 0, which is basically which basically corresponds to the first label that we chose. Now what you want to do is you want to repeat the same thing, keeping your hand at different distances from the webcam and at different rotations in order to ensure that our results are reliable. So I'm going to do that. And then you want to do the same thing with your other hand. Again, just keep pressing 0 on your keyboard. And then the next hand sign that we chose was the peace sign. So just do a peace sign in front of the webcam. And now you have to press 1 on your keyboard because it had an index of 1. Again, keep your hand at different distances from the webcam and at different rotations. Do the same thing for both of your hands. And then go ahead and repeat the same thing for all of the other hand signs, as many as you have. Now, once you've done that, we now have all of the data which we need in order to train our model. Now we can begin the training process. So just stop running the app.py file and head over to this file. So this over here, keypoint_classification, is a Jupyter notebook file, which we're going to use to train our models. So head over to your terminal and type pip install Jupyter. If you don't already have it installed, I already have it installed, so I'm not going to run this. Then just type in Jupyter notebook. Click on the project file. Click on keypoint classification. And then the first thing you want to do is change num_classes. So this variable here basically is how many custom hand signs did you choose in your keypoint classifier label file. So I have 3 of these, so I set it to 3. And then once you've done that, just click on cell and run all, which will run all of the cells for you. So once you're done running all the cells in your Jupyter notebook file, we're done with the training process. Now we can begin the testing to see if it actually works as we expect it to. In order to do that, head back to the app.py, which is your main file, and click on run. So as you can see, if I do a peace sign, it recognizes it as a peace sign. And if I do a hello sign, it recognizes it as a hello sign. However, if I do a peace sign with my left hand, it misclassifies it as a hello sign. Now the reason for this might be because we did not provide it with enough training data. Now to solve a problem like this, we can just go back and repeat the training process and provide it with more data.